All right, and we are back in action. Thank you all.
I mean, the chat just missed the best interview I think we've ever done.
Honestly, yeah, we're done. So thanks, Lois.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, I just told everybody like the secret of success, right? But everybody missed it, sadly. So let's go home.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, if you got that, you got that, and you'll know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all in the chat so very much for joining us, for saying what's up here. Bring your comments here. We could not be more excited to have Lois join us. And Lois, you have one of the most celebrated careers out there. You've been doing this for nearly 2 decades. You designed the characters for Horizon Zero Dawn, and you also have this unbelievably powerful online presence. And as evident in the chat, everyone here is good to see you. So we couldn't be more grateful for you to join us here. And so it's evening over there, yeah?
It is, yeah. It's nighttime even. It's like 9:45 p.m.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is Friday night party main event.
Yeah.
Headline. Here we go.
For sure. Yeah, we're partying.
We like to think of this like a music festival because we loved music festivals, and I love putting the lineup together. It's so fun to be in this moment here.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. So Lois, we've talked a lot at previous events too, and with Playgrounds about how you've done a lot of work in the studio system, but oftentimes that work, you do so much work, but it doesn't necessarily end up on the screen. So much gets lost and unreleased.
Right. Yeah, I'd say like a huge majority of my work that I've done for clients is, I always say, like hidden in a vault. You know, you make it under NDA, and which means non-disclosure agreement, and the company can decide, you know, they have the full copyright over the art, and they can decide themselves whether they want to release it or not. So a lot of the work that I've made just hasn't been
You know, y'all were right in the chat there. The studio clients heard she's going after the NDA stuff. Shut it down. Shut it down.
A SWAT team just broke into the house and said, you can't talk about this.
Yeah.
So let's quickly change the subject. I feel uncomfortable talking about NDAs.
They are listening. Well,
first rule of NDA Club.
Yeah.
Well, y'all out there in the chat, thank you guys for bearing with us. We want to give you, for your patience here, we want to give you a 50% off code to the Kitbsch3d store. So it's LOISH50, LOISH 50.
Thank you guys for hanging in there with us.
Yeah, are we down again? Jack?
I think we're still here.
We're still here?
I'm not good in the apps.
Oh,
No,
good. Oh, good. Okay, so.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping my a close eye on the chat. Whenever the Fs come rolling in, you know, that's when you know we're down. But so far, it's going good. They want 100% off, though, I see. So maybe you should look into that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 100% off. There is a free NeoCity kit. Make sure you grab that too. Well, Lois. So we were talking about client work, but let's just move on, because you're at a very important chapter in your career, I think, where you've made a choice now where you want to start sharing more with the world. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. So because of the NDAs, a lot of my artwork is hidden from the world, and I think it's some of my best work. So but I can't share it. And so initially, I thought like, well, eventually, you know, these companies will let me release the art, but it's been years for some of them, and they're still like, no, we're not releasing this. So I decided to focus more on personal work because like it's more fulfilling. but also because then I can share with the world where my art is going. And I can not only share the art itself, but also how did I make it? I can publish it in a book. I can use it as like inspiration for a story, all of that. So it's my own idea and my own creation. And I think that at this point in my career, that just feels so much more fulfilling because I'm focusing a lot more on my connection with, how do I put this? Like the people who follow me online. Like I want that to be more genuine. So I want to share more of what I do with them.
Yeah, I have a question for this because I've been watching your art for 20 years. Since you started putting it on back in the DeviantArt days, like
oh gosh, has it been 20 years? No, it hasn't.
2003,
Wow.
2003.
17. I feel like
17.
Okay,
There's a
we'll
huge
round
difference.
down.
We're still in high school.
We'll round down. It's been one of the coolest things to watch your progression, just from an outside point of view of creating incredible artwork back then, but to see not only how you grow, but how disciplined you are about improving. Can you talk about what that is and what drives you to continue to create and to continue to improve?
Well, for me, I always had a way, like when I was first learning how to draw, my focus was on making like a lot of art. So I used to do these things called okakis, which were like small doodles that were made in the browser. And I would just make like 3 a day or something like that, like just really quickly, spending like maybe half hour to an hour on each, which is a lot of time that I was putting into that actually. But I just wanted to draw fast and move on to the next one. So I didn't want to like make each drawing my perfect drawing. I wanted to take the challenges that I experienced and move it into my next drawing. And that's always been a priority for me. So I do spend a lot of time on my digital paintings. Those are the things, the images that you're seeing in the slideshow. Over to the right is much more like the detailed stuff that takes a lot of time. But I always found it really important to just make like rough studies and sketches, draw in my sketchbook, make like speed paints that I spend less time on so that I can just like keep my focus on one piece for a little bit and then move my focus on to the next. And I think consistently doing that over time has allowed me to improve because I experience the most improvement when I can just, focus intensely, but then quickly move on again. Like for me, most of my creative flow is a lot about not getting stuck. So drawing frequently and in short bursts helps me to do that. And that's helped me to improve over time.
I've heard you talk about the rigorous consistency that you put into your work and your discipline and how you structure your days. I think it's really cool hearing how you're stepping away from some of your more studio work so that you can put more time back in your day to get after the like consistent and focused work. Can you talk a little bit about how you structure your time? I know it's particular.
So that's something that I started doing recently because before that, like 10 years ago or so, I was just drawing because I wanted to draw. And my life was, I had fewer responsibilities. I didn't have to spend as much time on client work. I was a student. So I had all the time to just kind of draw whenever I felt like. And that was quite frequently. But as more responsibilities came into my life, it couldn't work that way anymore. I couldn't just wait for inspiration to come. I needed to really structure my time and commit to it, because if I don't commit to, a creative practice, then it will it'll get swallowed up by all these small and annoying tasks, all the adulting stuff, basically. So I'm pretty rigorous at this stage of basically making a commitment each month to spending a certain number of hours on rough work and studies, a certain number of hours on character art, and on digital paintings. And I schedule that in and I make that commitment and I really try to stick to it, because if I don't do that, I will end up doing a bunch of other stuff that feels like it's really important to do, but it doesn't feed my creativity. It actually kind of kills my creativity. I need to keep my creativity flowing. But that's sort of how things have changed for me. I think as well, like a lot of people go into kind of an art block mode when they lose that sort of spontaneous inspiration to draw. Like, I think a lot of artists start out getting spontaneously inspired, and then that inspiration kind of dips away over time as your life changes, and then they get like kind of blocked, or they feel bad, like they should be spontaneously inspired. But I don't think that that's really necessary. I think that it's like your life changes or your priorities change. You just need to figure out a different way. And for me, the different way was like scheduling it in and making like a commitment in advance.
I love that, like scheduling time to be creative, regardless of whether inspiration is there or not.
Yeah.
Tara Tainton in the Twitch gaming channel goes, dude, is this all your art? And yes, Tara, the images that you're seeing here are from Loesch's digital portfolio, which you can see on her social media across the interwebs. So talking about the discipline and the way you structure, I've heard you talk about, doing studies versus style explorations, and then ultimately digital paintings, and how you rotate that. Can you shine a little light for us on how you've structured almost your weeks, right?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, like I need to have a balance between the studies and the quicker stuff, and then like the more like heavy commitment kind of stuff, like my digital paintings, where I really spend like a couple of days really like working out the details. And I need to have that balance of both of them in order to keep my creativity flowing. Because if I spend a lot of time just on sketches and rough stuff, it becomes kind of like ADD, it becomes all over the place, like one thing after the next, one idea after the next. And what do you do with the knowledge that you kind of like pick up from those studies? You want to put that into, like, I want to put that into a detailed piece and really use that to a strong emotional effect. But if I spend all my time on these digital paintings, it's overwhelming. It's so much. It's like every time big mountain to climb. Just takes so much time to do it. And if you paint a lot, you get into that rhythm of like, oh, I've reached this certain level of detail. Now I know that I have to render for like hours in order for it to be done. And if you're only doing that, you'll get I get overwhelmed, and then I just want to go back to the more playful stuff. So I really have to balance both of them to keep my ideas flowing, to keep my creativity flowing, because otherwise I just start disliking the process of art, or I don't feel as connected emotionally to my art. So it's a constant change, rhythm and balance between all these different things that help me.
I love that. And Lois, your body of work is so incredible, and it speaks for itself in its in its prowess here. And I think that one thing we'd really like to spend some of this time on here with you while we have you, and several people in the chat have been buzzing about it too, is can we talk just a little bit about some of the things in your routine that aren't specifically the work? How do you, over 17 years, you draw with your hand? And sorry, on that note, do you use Procreate?
Sometimes.
Yeah, and do you use pen and pad and sketch?
Yes, absolutely.
And any other what are your other softwares?
My main software is Photoshop and the Cintiq. That's the most comfortable to me. Cool. Cintiq is huge and weighs like 1,000,000 pounds. So sometimes I need an iPad, when I'm on the go or just chilling on the couch or something. So switching between those two is also very useful for me.
Yeah. So then, you put out so much work, and we know how much work you do, how much time you spend working. How do you stay sound? I know you're very specific about your routines and the time you're working and the place and the setting. Can you tell us just a little bit of some of those things that you focus on there?
Yeah. So for me, if I focus too much on work, I'm just somebody who, once I get into my creative flow, I tend to stay in it. And actually, one of the challenges that I have every day is when I'm painting, like it takes me a while to get into it, but once I'm in it, I don't stop until I kind of have to force myself to. So I could paint until deep into the night if I didn't have my regular schedule and routine. So my routine is incredibly important for just keeping that balance, not getting, because when I draw too much, so it sounds like a good thing, right? Drawing too much, but it led to me developing an injury in my elbow, and later on a lot of problems with my shoulders. And the more these kind of things happen, the more I realized that it wasn't just about, my posture or whatever, because I worked on all that stuff, and it was important to sort of work on the ergonomics of my setup and everything, but it was much more like the mental state that I would get in, like this intense hyper focus where the only thing that mattered was the drawing, and I was not in touch at all with like, you know, how I was feeling, with my physical needs, you know, like eating, drinking, stretching, taking a break, relaxing. All those things just didn't happen because I was too focused on the art. So for me, like the stuff outside of drawing to support a healthier practice of drawing is incredibly important to keep my creativity going. So having like a workout routine or exercise routine really helps. I also switch I spend the first half of my day working from home, just behind my laptop or my iPad, and then I go to my studio space later. And I think if you don't have multiple spaces to work in, you could also go from like your couch to like your desk, or just switch your workspaces up so that you're not sitting in one place for too long. Having like evening routines where I wind down and relax, and having hours where I just really need to, you know, not work, but just walk and think and let my mind wander. Those activities that are not drawing, but are supportive to like a healthy drawing routine are just as important to my creativity as drawing itself.
I love that. I think it's so tremendously important that, you know, people know that high achievers struggle with the rest part. And I think there's an equation we always remind ourselves of, that the growth equals stress plus rest. And if you don't have them both, you can't get there.
It's the same in physical exercise. Like the only way that you can really improve in your fitness level is also to take breaks from time to time or switch it up a bit. And that's the same principle counts for everything. And I really think what I've noticed as well is that when I really structure my day well, which has been happening more and more, I've been getting into this like pretty good way of handling my tasks and my structure and not feeling as overwhelmed, that when I finish my tasks for the day and it's done, I have this nagging feeling like, is it really done? There must be something else that I still need to do. Like, this can't be it. You know, like I need to work a little more. I need to do more. I need to come up with more stuff to do. So there's like this voice in my head that like will not accept that it's okay and that it's time to just relax. Like it's never okay, right? And taking those breaks and stopping and planning in advance what I need to do in a day and knowing when enough is enough has made me aware of that voice and made me able to say to that voice, sit down, go away. Like I do need to relax and it is okay. Like, because if you are never aware of that voice and you live by it, you'll just run yourself to the ground.
Yeah, we have that with Kitbsch all the time. The Kitbsch team is all very hyper-focused, high-achieving. And so for us, we found that the structure we need to put into place, we don't ever need to tell someone when they need to start working. But we do need to say when you have to stop. Yes. And so, you know, for us, our company hours are you can't work after 7 p.m. and you can't work weekends, because we know that without those limitations, that's when we push ourselves too hard and we get burned out. And I think it's amazing that not only are you able to stay in such a creative flow, but you're able to do it from a place of balance and order.
It's the only way I could still be doing this. Because if I didn't slow down and take it easy and take those breaks and prioritize that, I really wouldn't be, I would have burned out in some way or other, and it wouldn't have worked out. So like slowing down was the only way to maintain the momentum. And I think for all artists, it's like, if you notice that the harder you work, the less pleasant it's getting, or the more pains you have in your shoulders, or the more something's holding you back, you might have to just work a bit less. Like you might have to, rather than work more or come up with more solutions or make more steps towards getting the results you want, you might have to take less steps and slow down and work less. And then that is a real tortoise in the hare stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you do it slowly, you'll get so much further.
There's a classic Woody Allen line when he's writing a script and he can't figure out he can't solve the problem. And instead of staying with it, his routine is to go make an English muffin and take a shower.
Yeah.
You know, and we talk about that a lot. The shower hours are really where passion comes from. You know, when your mind is relaxed and there's nothing you can be doing, what do you actually think about? you know, and then
Exactly.
where your mind goes there, it's like, oh, that's the area where, you know, if you're for some of y'all out there, if you're looking to try and identify what your passion is, and that can change over time, don't stress on that. But if you're trying to figure it out, watch yourself when you're not doing a task. What do
Yeah,
you actually think about?
that's literally like I had for my graduation project in college, art college, my animation graduation project. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I ended up like I got stuck, completely stuck, and then I just really slowed down for like a month or so. Even though the deadline was approaching to finish my project, I just really didn't know what I was going to do. So I just took it easy and just kind of like did other tasks and focused on the stuff that was like more manageable and just relaxed and just lived my life. And then suddenly the idea came to me what I was going to do. Like suddenly, just one day I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Like this, I have an idea. This is the idea. And it ended up going, so I had to animate like a lot in a short amount of time to get it done in time. But it was just like the perfect idea and it felt right, and it just came to me because I had taken a break from it, and it would not have come to me if I had forced it. And it ended up working out. I think it's still one of my best ideas, and it ended up winning like an award at the school and everything. So I was like, all right, it was worth it, you know. It was worth the wait, you know. Sometimes the best ideas are worth the wait.
We hear so many of our friends and artists say that you can get down the track and be, you know, achieving the thing and getting to the studio and doing the thing everyone's told you your whole life you're supposed to, and that's your ideal of success. And you get there and you realize, oh man, I was living someone else's life. Yeah. And even in whether that's the corporate ladder or even in the art world, you know, it's so important to figure out who you are and not feel the if you can, and the pressure comes from everywhere, especially in social media, but it's so important to get to where you have your own unique voice. And I think you are such a shining example of that. And we couldn't be more excited that you're now even gonna be diving deeper into your social platforms and putting things out. And Carmen Cine Art mentioned that you have an amazing Patreon. For sure, if you guys are interested in this, go follow, jump on the Patreon there. And off of the Twitch gaming chat, several people have asked where they can follow you more. And so your IG link is there.
Yeah.
And at Loesch VB, in case you don't see it.
Lois VB.
Lois VB. No
it's
H.
very confusing. Like there's always some person like somebody who's called Lois and then a last name that starts with an H that gets the Loesch before I do. So I have to use all these creative like workaround names.
So at Lois VB on Instagram and the social platforms, and where can people find your Patreon?
Yeah, that's patreon.com/Loesch. So that is the Loish.
I'm glad I checked.
I'm the first Loesch who joined Patreon.
Well,
Awesome.
Well, Lois, yeah, we could spend all day talking to you here, and I know the chat would be excited. But we, you know, your time is incredibly precious, and we can't thank you enough for spending a bit of it here with us. All of you all in the chat, please give a very warm thank you to Loesch for joining us. And hopefully that this won't be the last time we'll get to do this again soon.
Yeah, it was really great. Thanks for having me. And thanks everybody who dropped by in the chat. It's really great to see your messages. They're coming by so fast right now.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you all.
It's so fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Lois.
Yeah, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Oh man, chat. Thank you all very much for being so attentive. That's a really cool interview. We're so excited to have her here with us.
So many heart emojis happening at once.
So many heart emojis, and y'all over there on Twitch Gaming, we see you. Thank you guys very much for dropping your lines in, and we are heading to our VR tag team here with John Majurabayev from The Mandalorian and Min Gwen, who's worked on Gears of War and a whole bunch of FX movies, TV shows. And they are going to be building a world in VR and Gravity Sketch together.
Yeah, and I don't really know much more about it because this is a whole new world, the whole front lines of new software and new ways to build these things. I can't wait to watch them.
So if you are just joining us in the chat, this is Game Day at Lightbox Expo as part of a larger event. And we are here, we are Kitbsch3d coming at you from Los Angeles. And this is a full weekend. So it's not only today going on, but we've got tomorrow will be up again. And in the morning, both Saturday and Sunday, we'll be doing full days of this. So join us. We've got unbelievable artists here from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, from the Avatar franchise, from more Star Wars movies and video games than we can count. So stick with us. And lastly, we have we're going to drop to a video here from Sava Zivkovic, the director of Destiny 2 cinematics, who's made a full cinematic using a bunch of different Kitbsch3d kits. And speaking of Kitbsch3d, we got a summer bundle sale going on. It's our biggest sale of the summer. It's got, you can buy 2, get 1 free, or get 3 and you get a whole another 3 for free. I'm losing my words here because we are on a marathon. But buy 3, get 3 free, buy 2, get 1 free. Those are the codes. Y'all know what to do. Watch this cool video and we'll be right back with John.
So the advantage of 3D over 2D is simply that you're able to move through space, basically. If you're interested in photography, I would strongly suggest learning 3D because it'll allow you to understand all the finite details of how cameras work. And you could test any camera's abilities as much as you like because you have an infinite amount of choices. I always think like, what would Stanley Kubrick do with like the 3D programs I use? You know, it'd probably blow his mind because of the choices, you know? But I also think it's really important to be inspired by the reality of a real camera and understanding how that mechanism works, understanding how light works, how to capture moments, and letting that feed the CGI. Because a lot of times I think with CGI, it's so easy to make something that's lifeless or dull or dead because it's so perfect and it's so pristine. I'm always thinking about the intention, like what am I trying to say here and what am I trying to do? Am I making something that moves? Am I making something that's still? Almost always, it comes from the intention of the emotion that I'm trying to evoke from my audience at the end of the road. It's the most amazing thing to make an imaginary, completely produced world and be able to move around in it and see it real time. It's like, come on, it's the best. You're basically making your own worlds.
Bazing-zang.
Oh, he got me. Got me with my bazing-zang. I'm always trying to throw the bazing-zang in there.
No. This time I wanted to get it in there first.
Ladies and gentlemen, we could not be more excited to welcome you to the main event.
The VR tag team.
The VR tag team Friday night game day, Lightbox Expo 2020. We're Kitbsch3d coming at you straight from Los Angeles, California. I want to throw a huge shout out to our co-producers in the Netherlands at Playgrounds, Jacqueline, Wicca, and Leon. They have done such an amazing job of keeping us on today. As many of y'all know, you've been amazing for bearing with us. The reason we do a live stream, despite the technical difficulties of it, is because of the chat, because we get to engage with you all. And what we're trying to do here with Game Day and at Kitbsch3d is shine a spotlight on some of the most amazing artists out there doing some of the most amazing projects and to connect them to you all. And this, we do an event like this usually once a year at this time as our way of saying thank you, because we want to, you all have allowed us to have a space within the digital art community, and it is our tremendous pleasure to get to connect some of our dear friends and artists to you all and try to bring more value to you guys as much as we can. And so we want to enable and inspire your creative journey as you're heading out into crafting the virtual frontier as we enter into this new space. And so on that note, could not be more excited about this. We've got Jama Jerabayev and Min Gwen here. What is up, guys?
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys. We're good. We're good. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I mean, this is terribly exciting. We've been wanting to do a tag team or a co-op world build. Jama, of course, was on our show, the Kitbsch3d Festival last year, and built a world using the Street Side kit, which was super fun. And that video has done incredibly well, and people are super excited. So we thought, how do we add more to this? How do we bring more to the game? And we thought, Min Gwen, let's get the two of y'all together and build something really sweet. So we are bursting with gratitude. Please, in the chat, I see you guys are giving some hellos. Let the gents know that you're out there and that we're doing this here together, because we're excited.
I want to start off with the first question. Why VR? Why is this the next frontier?
Yeah, it's interesting because like when VR came out, I mean, I don't remember exactly when VR came out, but I guess it was somewhere in mid 2015 or something. I looked at the videos, I was like, wow, this is so interesting, right? It's this virtual parallel kind of universe where you can create art. And actually today what we're going to be showing, it's really kind of proves the point why I thought there's a lot of potential behind it. It's a virtual world, right? Like right now we live in this real world, and to work on something, we need to be in the same place. I mean, you can freelance, but if you're working in the studio, you kind of have all the people lined up next to each other, and you work in this physical world. But actually VR gives you a chance to work in this virtual world with no limits, which means you can have people from different countries working on the same project. And I hope it's not going to be an epic fail today, because this is the first time we're actually doing this, right, live, where we're going to be having this co-creation session in Gravity Sketch. and Maine is in Vancouver, and I'm in London, and you guys obviously will be just watching it from LA. And it's just amazing how we will be able to create a scene together simultaneously at the same time. And we can have creative input, and you guys can have creative input as well. And it's just fascinating, you know? It's not like back in the days you would do it remotely and you would do it by your own on your computer, but now we will be able to do it in this one virtual space, which potentially means you can have hundreds of artists working on the same project. Right now, it's the demo of 2 people doing that, but hopefully in the future you could basically like have more than 100 people working on the same project. It's just fantastic, very promising. I like it.
Asim Steckel on the chat says, "Let me step into the matrix," and I think that's exactly where we're heading here. Is you know, this is 2020. This is the work from home version of this show. We've often done the show with a live audience, and you know, now as we're all so far apart, we seemingly live on Zoom or FaceTime, or we're doing this on Skype. You know, and you guys are about to dive in on Gravity Sketch. You know, talking about this being a global thing, you know, the Playgrounds, who's doing the live streams in the Netherlands, you guys in different countries, we're here, Procreate's in Australia. Actually, artists on the show are in 21 different countries. So this feels like a sign of the times, you know, that because the necessity now of, hey, we still want to connect, we still want to get in the same room, this is about as good as we can get in 2020 to do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting, man. I mean, and especially if we go beyond just talking and sharing ideas, we can physically do work. This is very fascinating. Again, I don't want to talk too much because if we fail, that's a lot of pressure on me. So, but it looks very promising. Obviously, entering the matrix right now doesn't look like Minority Report or anything like that. It looks very kind of cumbersome and very like very heavy. I think like most of the time I will just be thinking about keeping my belly in, because when I'm in VR, I just relax and I just don't let it go, right? So, but again, this is very promising, because I think like the devices themselves, they're gonna get cheaper, they're gonna get smaller, so it's just a matter of time. But I felt like, even though it's still very raw and still very early days of this, I felt I want to be a part of it, because it's like a step into the future, you know. The earlier we start, obviously it needs a lot of effort, and I think people like myself, Goro, Min, and many other talented artists out there, we kind of pushing the technology as well, and once the tech gets very widely used as well, it's going to be awesome. I'm very positive about it.
I have to say, you know, I think one of the things with VR is the graphics are improving at an incredible pace, but you know, there's always still this kind of stipulation of like, okay, well, where's the limitations? And then, Min, when I see your work, I see some of your concepts and I'm like, oh my God, that thing is gorgeous. And then I'll scroll down on ArtStation and see, wait, this is from VR? Like, it shocks me every time that, you know, you're able to create such high fidelity images and able to use VR as a part of your process. How did you start incorporating VR?
Thank you very much. Well, honestly, at first I was very skeptical of the VR until I saw Jaume Jorabaev's demo, you know, when he traveled all the way to Vancouver and I saw it live and he was showing, and I really realized how fast it is. It might sound actually very complicated, but once you're in VR, you kind of feel like you're just like, you know, like a craftsman, and you just forget the time and just enjoy the process, because it's so easy, because it's like instant, and you're in the VR space. In the 3D space, and it's not like just dragging a mouse, you know, like trying to fight that CAD software or anything like that. Yeah, a lot of you guys probably know what I mean, but it's something that I think like everyone should try at least once, or like borrow it from a friend, try the VR like Gravity Sketch or Medium, or just, you know, and see if it works for you. But I find it like a lot of fun doing this, and that's why, you know, trying to push it further and further and see how far and how complex I can build.
Awesome. Before, I know we want to make sure you have as much time in the headsets as possible. Before we dive into it, though, tell us about what you're going to be using today, because you're going to be using VR, but you're going to be using Kitbsch assets, and you're also going to be using big, medium, small assets. What are you going to make today, and what are you using to make it?
Yeah, so basically, like, I will just share quickly my kind of feeling about why I feel VR is very intuitive. it kind of feels like drawing in 3D space. So people who can draw, they really enjoy it. But most of the time when I would do these demos and people would come back to me with a little complaint like, hey man, like, but drawing is hard, right? Like I was like, well, yeah, you gotta spend at least like 10 years learning all that stuff. So, but again, drawing is just one part of it. Like you can also use assets, right? Assets either made by someone else or assets made by you. So today we're gonna kind of share both worlds. We're gonna show how you can take assets and customize them by some like custom sketching on top, but also we're gonna be using two asset packs, fantastic asset pack from you guys and also from Big, Medium, Small for characters as well. So, and you will just see how quickly you can, having some pre-made assets and on top of that, like using VR to kind of establish the scenes and doing it, two of us simultaneously. It's going to be epic. I can't wait. We just need to start straight away, I think.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Last thing I want to just mention here, Big, Medium, Small, if you haven't heard about it, at Kitbsch, we build a lot of stuff for environments and props and things like that. And one of the questions we constantly get is, do you have characters? And Big, Medium, Small has great characters. It's one of those things that like, if that's what you're looking for, look no further. They have this amazing medieval pack. You're seeing some of the artwork on screen of all these kind of knights and amazing costumes and armor. And you guys just put out another kit of kind of this military warfare, hazmat suit, apocalyptic character pack as well. And it's really cool stuff. So definitely, if you're looking for that, check out Big, Medium, Small, and you'll see some of that in the demo today.
Yeah, you're about to see it in action.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yep.
Again, guys,
All right.
we won't be able to see anything. So if there are any problems, just let us know. Okay.
Copy that. Yeah, we'll be your eyes and ears. Well, I guess you got ears still, but we'll be your eyes.
Okay, fantastic. So basically, we already have everything set up here. It's just like we mentioned. It's like this beautiful assets scattered all around here. So consider this as a library, right? Like normally you would have in folders, and this is what I really have problems with. When you have these folders with OBJ and FBX files in, you don't really know how they look like. But here it's all visual, right? Like if you want to have a look at this building, oh, I like it. But you can also grab it. It's fantastic. So, but let's start from the very beginning. I think the most exciting part here is actually having Min here as well. So as you can see, we're kind of looking at each other right now, like waving hands. Super cool. And like, for example, the way it works, it works independently. Basically, what Min is doing there, he's doing it from Vancouver, and I'm doing it from London. And we're just seeing each other in real time. It's just fantastic. And I think
guys, there's a buzzing. Is that a controller, or it sounds like?
Is that a phone?
There
sounds
is
like a phone,
right? Yeah.
And everyone in the room, check your phones, please.
It's definitely not me.
No,
yeah,
it's not me.
Do y'all hear that out there?
Yeah, we hear that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Oh, you know
Yeah,
what I
it's
think
gone.
it might have been? I think it was the headphone jack vibrating in the. Oh.
Is that?
So you all in the chat, while we're tech checking here, this is the shadow side of getting to have a chat. Is that there are technical difficulties along the way, and I think this is something really fun that we talk about all the time. Is there are pros and cons to everything.
Where the sound is coming from?
Now you get to see Jama figuring out sounds.
I mean, I would watch Jama try to find the buzzing sound with the headset on.
Hold on, I don't understand where the buzzing is coming from.
Because it's not there. It's not there now.
Okay, it was definitely coming from my headset. So what I had to lower the volume. I don't know what it was. So
well, and this is a big piece of VR today. Is as you can see, as Jama was saying earlier, this isn't Minority Report yet. The hardware is still rather clunky, and I'm sure Jama and Min can attest to this. Where the hardware was 2 years ago, we've come light years. So this. Yeah. The headsets they're wearing are, we used to have big clunky tethers and like super hot machines, and they're getting lighter, they're getting faster, they're getting less buzzy. but it's still early days of VR. So this is very, very front of the wave kind of thing that Jama and Min are showing us. And with that kind of technology, as any early adopter knows, you're going to get bugs and you're going to get things that are less than perfect. And soon it'll be something like this, or a contact, or if Elon Musk has his way of chipping our brain. But for now, we get to deal with these kinds of things. But I'm loving everything I'm seeing. I've never gotten to see something like this before, so I'm terrifically excited.
Anyway, I think we just lost Oculus sponsorship, but yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. So basically, guys, this is where we left it, right? So we're seeing, like, we're working together on this scene, and this is obviously right now it's 2 of us, but potentially I think like in Gravity Sketch you can scale it up to 16 people. It's just mind-blowing because you can have 16 people actively working on one scene, and because we're doing things simultaneously, you kind of have fresh pair of eyes. Like, for example, Min does something, I do something, and we can kind of move things around. I think like we basically should start doing something actually. So basically we have these 2 scenes here, 2 sets of assets. We have really nice buildings, we have some characters from big, medium, small. Also we have some vehicles from big, medium, small. So what we want to build here is like kind of Akira-inspired moment of like maybe like a military base, and maybe there's a guy with superpowers like lifting everything off the ground. It's this one kind of intense moment in the film, in the game, it doesn't matter. It could be just stuff that you would prepare for your artwork. But yeah, obviously let's just like go to basics, right? Like this is where the complaint was coming from.
Two quick questions from the chat. Just yeah. Roro, they're working in Gravity Sketch, and the question is why are the models all grayscale? Why aren't y'all using textures?
Oh, so you can use them as textured, but usually like when you prep your scenes, you want to kind of exclude the texture. So, but this is personally myself. I love working that way because then you only concentrate on shapes first, just on the composition, on the alignment of the objects. You can obviously import them with the textures on, but we just felt like this is probably coming maybe a little bit from back old school days when you would just use grayscale and then you would texture them. But I totally see the point. You can use them with textures. Just for this demo, we felt like let's just do it. Because there's also the other like more technical answer would be because there's no light setup, it's all diffuse light. I think textures will look very misleading, so that's why we're having them as a grayscale models would be great. And you can still tweak the colors, kind of like if you see they all have slightly different colors. So when you're building your composition, you want to kind of arrange values and shapes in terms of values, not in colors. So you can easily tweak that. Like you can pick any object and you can kind of change the color very quickly. So I think in that case, you don't need textures at this point, but it's not because it's technically impossible. It is possible, we just prefer to do it this way. Okay?
Love it. Love it.
So let's go to basics. This is something I talked about. Like imagine you don't have any of these assets, right? And you open Gravity Sketch and you open VR. Let me just, Min, if we can just zoom out somewhere where we don't see assets. Like this is me and Min, and you only have this ball, right? Like this is like a primitive kind of tool in VR, but it's already very powerful because what you can do, you can start drawing. Like for example, if you want to do a character very quickly, you can do this, you can do legs. I know this is a very kind of very terrible stickman, but ability to do that very quickly is fantastic because if you do one of these guys, you can start scattering them around, you see? Already, it's almost like doing this scribbly sketch before you even get into kind of refined stage, And because right now, for example, I'm doing this with Min together, we can start like, basically, let's say if I want to do a character, I can do like a very quick sketch and Min could pick it up and start refining it. Like Min, go ahead and add something to this character.
One sec.
Oh, he's got a cape, right? But obviously, right now it looks like a child drawing, right? It doesn't look any professional. But again, this is just a demo, right? Like this is actually the way we start, right? First we put like a bunch of stickmans and we start putting like different ideas. And now, for example, as Min is doing that, I can start thinking about like, oh, but this guy looks too static. Maybe let's make him more dynamic, right? And because we're doing this in VR, I'm not bothered about like layers or outliner. I can pick any object at any time. That's what makes it really fantastic. Like for example, if I want these legs more dynamic, I would say I would just pick it and draw it from scratch, right? Now this is looking better, right? So for example, if I want his hand, like, he's a superhero, right? We need a superhero pose, right? And look, as I'm doing that, Min is adding the cape, and it's just crazy, guys. I know it's like I've done these demos a lot. On the screen, it kind of looks cool, but actually, when you let people try it out, it's just a completely different experience because you see the scale, right? Like for example, I can blow up the scale to the human scale, and right now this character is just exactly the size I am, right? And it's just so immersive, so like amazing and fantastic. For example, let's do something cool here. As Min is doing this, like Min is kind of helping me out with this. I can bring it one of this. Shall we bring this car over here? So we've got this car asset here, right? So for example, we can put the car here. Take it, scale it, get it scale. So now, and for example, as Min is doing that, I can pick it up, opposite. Hold on, Min, just release it. And I can put this guy over here, right? So maybe we'll scale it up slightly. So our guy standing here. So, and you see the way it's getting more and more complex every stroke you put on top. So the way it works, basically, we're going to have this combination of drone, like customized environment. And again, like right now, it all looks like very blobby, just like lines. But you can always refine it to the stage. It looks almost exactly like one of those characters that we have from Big Video Small. So as you can see, this is just a character pre-made in 3D. But obviously, the difference between this guy and that guy, you can't change this guy. But with this guy, you can always repose him and do some like really cool stuff with it. So as Min is doing that, Min, maybe you can share your thoughts on this. I know I'm always overexcited because I always. Like I did this demo thousands of times, and every time I do it again, I'm so excited again. But
yeah,
just to confirm the same thing, maybe you should.
As an audience, when you see it on the flat screen, it doesn't look like as exciting. But like for a person who is in VR, it's a whole different experience. It's like you're basically I can like grab this guy and just like put him like behind my back, and it's still gonna be there. Like where is it? I lost it. Anyways. It's so free, and of course you do have like actually precision mode where you can like, this is the traditional CAD sort of like moving things in the axis type of like modeling, but you also have like a smart move where you like, like in Blender or Maya, like you basically move things in the axis. But in Gravity Sketch or like in VR, you just like grab things and just like copy them, whatever you want, and it's so free and so fast. Yeah.
It's so intuitive too.
Oh yeah. Hey Jama, are we already doing the scene?
Oh, I'm already doing the scene. You can, yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
get in on the fun there, man.
Yeah, so basically what I'm seeing here, and again, like, this is totally made up scene. We had a brief conversation of what we want to do, but because it's so fast to do these things, we're just freestyling right now, because, and like 3D could get very intimidating when you start thinking about polygon count, about topology, but there's always place for that. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I say something and all 3D guys, they get offended, like, oh, what do you mean? No. I mean, as a concept artist, for me, what I need to care about is creative process, right? If I start thinking about like poly count and topology, it kind of is very counterintuitive for what I do. That's why, like, here we can make so many brave choices. Like we can possibly destroy the models a little bit and do all sorts of things as long as it kind of looks cool and fits the kind of idea that we want to do. And that's why having assets and being able to kind of insert like custom shapes by just drawing them in VR is fantastic. Like for example, what I meant, like for example, let's pick up this guy. If I'm not mistaken, so this guy looks like it's one piece, right? It's almost like an action figure actually. And it really reminds me of action figures. Like when I was a little boy, I used to play with this. But this looked cooler. I never had money to buy this. Obviously, those are virtual guys, but you can do very interesting things with it. Look, you can separate it. So what I did right now, I was able to kind of separate the gun. You see it? So for example, you can go and actually customize these guys. You know, for example, let's say I want this guy to hold a gun like this, right? It's obviously, because this is one mesh, you won't be able to move his hand, even though in the original pack we have them rigged, but it's not possible to do it in VR. But I don't care, you know, it doesn't bother me because I can always go and like draw a hand, kind of a custom hand. It's not going to look as detailed as the previous one, but it still holds up, especially when we're going to be, this is going to be like a little part in a huge scene. You won't be even seeing the difference, right? Obviously, the issue is right now with this hand, so I will just use my creative liberty here and maybe dress this guy, put like a kid or something. So just to cover it up. But no, look how, like, you kind of inserting this additional energy to it, you know? You can do, like, even like repositioning this means like that he's moving, maybe he's just like about to turn around and this, like, his cape is waving, you know? And it's just so much fun. And again, once you do that, you can just go and merge it. So now it becomes your custom action figure, you know? Like, for example, because I put the cape, like, let's just continue that thing. Let's put a little bit of that cape over here as well.
It's so cool seeing you working on a character and Min kind of circling around you, building the world around these characters.
It's insane, isn't it? It's so much fun.
Imagine having like 4 people in the scene.
Why 4? I want all 16 people doing that, right?
Well, I think it's gonna be too much, but yeah, it's possible.
But actually, you know what is exciting here is actually you can have like spectators, and I think when it comes to spectators, you can have like almost, I would say infinite, but let's say like a lot of spectators. So basically, people who don't have rights to change anything, they can just watch, right? And by watching, I mean they can art direct. Like imagine Banks and Max, you instead of watching this happening on the screen, you could be in this space giving us notes, right? Like, hey, can we do this building smaller? And obviously, and you can do like little paint overs and stuff like that. This is just fantastic. And you can be anywhere in the world. You can be in Asia, you can be in Australia. This is just.
I mean, and thinking of the like 2020 applications of this and how production is trying to get back up on its feet.
Yeah.
This could speed things up in so many different ways.
Absolutely. This is so fun. And again, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I just want to hang out with my friends like this.
Oh, it's super fun.
What were you gonna say, Jama?
I don't know. I was probably going to say just random things. Yeah, again, what I wanted to say is, see, it could be a little bit intimidating because Main right now, like if I look up, Main avatar is so big, you know, like it's almost like he's a giant. But that's also a very productive kind of intuitive way of building these worlds because, you know, when you build, like, I don't know, like my personal thing with 3D, whenever I start doing 3D, I spend so much time on details that I don't even see, right? It's just too much effort going into it because it looks fun, you know, you zoom in and you start detailing. So having someone with looking at this picture from a broader view, you know, always gives you a fresh like look at things. You know, sometimes you would, you know, like this hand that I painted like this. Yeah, it looks terrible when I'm zoomed in like this, but from Main's perspective, like this, it looks fine, right? It looks awesome. So this is where like having ability to change the scale and having ability to have multiple people in this scene is fantastic, right? Like for example, Main started laying down this fantastic assets from Kitbsch, but now right now I just realized, oh, the scale is off. Look at this, because if I pick up my character, which is, look, he's tiny, right? Oh. And obviously, well, Main, it's not like I'm blaming you for doing something wrong. It's just like I'm trying to show, to kind of prove the point how intuitive it is, and how you keep everything so fresh when you're doing this simultaneously. So I'm going to resize this. And I'm going to place this guy out here, so this is like a sniper guy or something.
While you're building, we have a couple questions in the chat, and I think, you know, the one thing that really encompasses a ton of these questions is, I think people are looking at this going, oh my God, this looks awesome. This looks so much fun. What is this job? And I think that's an interesting thing because, you know, there's concept art, which is taking advantage of this new piece of software, but this is far from the industry standard right now. When you're on a professional job, like Min coming from Gears of War or Jama coming from Mandalorian, how are you using VR in your actual day-to-day job?
Well, it's very similar the way we do it right now, you know? Like, obviously right now we're just building the world, right? Where we have the assets already pre-designed for us, and we're just assembling them. So we always do it as a part of our daily work, you know, when we're designing the frame for a film or a game, you go through pretty much through the same process. The difference here is that it's more intuitive because, as I said, like you can pick up the object and you can rotate it and you can scale it at the same time. It's not something you can do in traditional.
Cool. Sorry for that, guys. Thank you for sticking around. We are streaming from 4 different countries right now and from multiple VR headsets. Honestly, I'm shocked we've made it this far before our first glitch.
And, you know, and this is all streaming from all of our homes. So crazy that it is like this, but this, as we say, is a live stream. And the reason we do that is so that we can engage with y'all and hear all your F's in the chat. So that, but that also we can be here and do this together in real time because it's so much more exciting than shooting it and editing it. So we are back in the game. And
yeah, we got another question. When you're done blocking this out, do you usually send it off to Blender or to Photoshop, or where do you go from VR when you get something that you're happy with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. You definitely need some place to render this in, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure in the future you will get apps that will allow you to do it real time just in VR, because in the end this is just a real time game engine that we are kind of using right now. I think Gravity Sketch is using Unity as a base, which means you can get a realistic render here. I mean, right now you have very primitive control. I can show it to you. It's over here. So where is it? Man, where's the lighting? I forgot.
It's in the settings. You see, go to the gears, and then there is a workspace dude, and then just grab the lamp, and you can change the lighting direction.
Anyway, so you can just primitively change the lighting here, but obviously if you want something looking more dramatic, more kind of refined, you just take it somewhere else. You know, yeah, like for example, Min is doing something, but anyway. So rendering is not the biggest issue. The biggest issue for me has been always, you see, already I'm starting thinking in terms of cinematography here. So the way I'm doing it here, obviously, you guys seeing a flat picture, but I'm seeing this whole world. And imagine as a photographer, I'm not a cinematographer, but obviously I do understand principles of cinematography as an artist. But imagine a proper DOP, director of photography, joining this session and being able to start thinking in terms of camera angles. Like, for example, we have a very simple instrument for him here, which is our
screenshot.
Where is it?
I'm doing it. So.
Oh, it's this one over here. Yeah, you see, you've got this simple camera. It's basically like a handheld camera, and you can change depth of field. Like, for example, look, this is like a long lens, and Tetsuo is over there. It's so cool, guys. And like, for example, I can start thinking in terms of shots, maybe low angle, looking up, maybe doing some panning. And you can also like export this frames to kind of have a general idea. And then obviously once you put the real lighting on top of this, this is going to look awesome. But I'm going to show you a very cool feature here. So just to kind of expand the idea that this is such a creative process. So we've got some assets here. We've got like stones, we have characters, we have fantastic like towers, but occasionally obviously you will need to create assets by yourself. So instead of going back to 3D, doing them, you can do them here. Like we did a very primitive example with that. So, but I'm going to show you a very cool, like I felt like we want to scatter around some grass elements here, right?
Yeah.
So let me do some grass for you. So well, I'm going to pick up a brush here, and the brushes are very simple here. So let me see if I can find one that I like. This should work. So I'm going to do it just somewhere, right? Just draw a grass, right? Very simple. You still need to know how to draw, but I think anyone can do this, like a very simple grass element. But obviously when you do this, every stroke I put, it's a real geometry, it's very heavy. So I can take it as it is, like look, I can take it as it is and start scattering it around. So this is my grass element. But it's very heavy. It's like every stroke is a real geometry. Obviously this is where we're gonna cheat a little bit. I'm going to show it to you how to do that. So we can take a snapshot of this. So look at this. So and here what we have with this picture, add plot to sketch and transparent background. And I think, yeah, look at that. So now I have it as a picture. You see it? And also what I can do, I can use it as a texture. So I can use any surface. So I can do this surface and I can use this texture. So it's basically like in games you can put stuff on cards. It's pretty much similar technique, right?
Yeah.
So now I can have it like this, and now this is way less heavy. So, and now I can do that. Oops, I just deleted that. And now basically, and also I can change the color as well. So, oops, no. I think I can only change the color, yeah. So, but obviously for now, we'll just keep it gray because everything is gray. Yeah, now I have this really awesome grass. And now, because this grass is very simple, I can start scattering it around, right?
Now we're getting the shadow.
Yeah. Oh, wow. As I was doing that, Min already blocked out the whole scene, right? So I think like right now what I will be doing here, like this is like a military base, so we kind of want to organize it a little bit. So I think like we will have some barracks. So, and again, like what I'm using here, I'm just like zooming out. As Min is doing his thing, I am like kind of trying to see the aerial view and maybe to make it look like a military base a little bit more, right? So, put this right here. So this, obviously this vehicle, and maybe they had a bunch of vehicles here.
In the chat, they say Min with the support God mode.
Yeah, it is. But look, let's put this, obviously right now it's a demo, but again, like I think people a lot of time people ask me like, how do I come up with like the workflow or the stuff I do? I never like come up with just like fictionary workflows, right? I always try to maximize and kind of improve my workflow to help me to work. And this is exactly when I start getting all these ideas. For example, let's imagine I'm a director of photography, right? And I pick up my primitive camera tool here, and let's just go to normal view. So I start setting up my camera, but obviously I have Min with me, and I can go like, I can look at this frame and I can tell Min, it's almost like real stage, you know, like if you've seen like how they shoot commercials or films, they would have a guy who would like direct and give his directions to people. And I would say like, hey, Min, I actually don't see that guy who is hovering. Could you just lower him for me? Oh yeah, fantastic. You see, this is just crazy. Obviously, if this was real set, you wouldn't be able to do that because that guy would obviously, most apparently CGI. So you won't be make this decision. You will have to imagine it and later on address it. But being able to do this in VR, and don't get me wrong, but doing this is way cheaper than producing actual sets, you know, or doing like VFX work. And because you only have 2 artists and it's just our salaries and we can build and prototype everything so quickly, you know, it's just fantastic. Yeah, and again, like for example, I can go and for different angles over here, I can go like, oh, I like it, but these two guys, like they're kind of overlapping. Could you take the hovering guy and shift it to the left a little bit? Oh, instant. Oh, no, he's overlapping with the building. I want to see the silhouette. Maybe up. Nice. Yeah. So this is how the
it's almost like a meme.
Yeah, this is how annoying directors are. But obviously, doing it here, it's so way faster. It's just, again, it just shows the potential. And this was just two of us. Again, imagine 16 people working on this. This is going to be awesome.
There's a couple questions coming in. When
Yeah.
when you guys are collaborating in VR, is Gravity Sketch transmitting the audio as well, or how are you guys communicating while you're in there?
Yes. So we kind of have to mute it because we're talking via Skype to have the stream. But you can turn on the microphone and you could talk. It's basically, it has like almost like a very basic like audio kind of support, so you can talk with each other.
But I prefer Zoom or Skype call better than the through Oculus. It's not very good yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We already lost the Oculus sponsorship anyway, so we can.
Yeah.
It's great. I think in the future, the way I'm seeing it, you will have more options. You can, like for example, this is something you won't be able to see in my world, but actually, let's give Oculus heads up here. They made a very fantastic feature, which you won't be able to see on the screen because it's kind of, you see it in VR. So basically, while working in VR environment, you can have windows with any of your desktop kind of applications. For example, you can have Zoom, and you can have
And it sounds like we are back, hopefully so. Thank you all so much for bearing with us, wild times here, 2020. For your patience here, the team has given us a code for your patience with all of our technical difficulties. That code is JAMAMIN50, which when you put those two next to each other, it looks like Jamamin. And we'll all be Jamamin here in VR. JAMAMIN50 if you want to get some 50% off kits on us for your patience in the technical difficulties here on game day at Lightbox. So, Jamamin, where were we?
We were just enjoying this process. As you see, it's getting very complex here. And what I think, like, I don't think you guys really realized it, because I kind of had a little glimpse on the screen. Because of the live stream, it looks a little bit jaggy. It looks a bit like, almost looking like there is like some sort of lag. But actually, I'm amazed how smooth everything is right now in VR. Like, we have tons of assets here. They all multiplied million, like at least a few thousand times, but it's still holding up. This is just insane, Obviously, kudos to Gravity Sketch team. I don't know how they did it, but you can actually create like this fantastic big scale scenes and it still holds up. It's just really, really interesting.
That's been one of the big questions in the chat coming up over and over again, is how concerned are you during this process with the poly count, with heavy geometry? What kind of work did you have to do with the Kitbsch assets or the big, medium, small assets before you were able to bring them in and start working with them?
Yeah. So obviously this whole poly count versus performance question is never ending. Trust me, guys. When I was broke and I didn't have any money and I had a shitty computer, I was still having lags in 3D, right? Right now, I'm doing all right. I have a very decent computer. I still have a shitty lags on my computer, right? So I'm planning, I was actually showing off to Lane that I'm planning to get this high-end NVIDIA graphic cards with my next machine, and I'm pretty sure I will still have the same problem. So basically, it's all about the more powerful machine you get, the greedy you get. You just want everything in real time and all that stuff. So You just with experience, you learn how to deal with that. You know your limits, and you know how to basically, you know what is going to cause the lags, and you know what's going to optimize your process. But I would say, like, looking at these assets both at Kitbsch and what we did, they are super well optimized. Like, if you look at the Kitbsch set, like you can see like all the edges, all the polygons, it's very low poly, and it's a very well optimized. Obviously, the beauty of these assets comes from textures. And same with our assets. If you look at this guy, for example, he looks so low poly, but if you look at some marketing art that we put out there, once you turn the textures on, they look fantastic because, again, we both of us, we're spending a lot of time making sure that those assets, they are well optimized and they look great. And again, this is like totally very genuine kind of observation. It's not like, I want assets that I will be happy using in my workflow. And I think both parties here, we wanted to create something that will make this process fun, you know? Like, if you have this model as a ZBrush model, which is like 100 million polygons, no matter how cool it looks, it will be like really hard to use. Because in the end, it's two of us, we're creating this real-time environment with tons of assets, so they should be well optimized. But again, going back to where I started from, no matter what type of computer you have, you will still get greedy, you know. And that's why I like this example with the grass I showed you. Like, it's possible to do it as a real geometry. It will look slightly better because it's a real geo, but having it on cards like this give you advantage in terms of speed, because in the end, once you zoom out like this, you don't even see that every of these trains is individual, needs to be an individual object. So again, something that comes with experience, but I think like this is a never-ending story, performance versus polygon. But I would say Gravity Sketch holds up really nicely. As you see, we have all this beauty here, and it's still doing good.
It's actually doing better than Blender. Like, you can have like amazing scene in Gravity, and you put it in Blender, and just everything is super laggy. So I have no idea how Gravity Sketch optimized it. Seriously, great job.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically the way it works here, the moment you multiply objects, it's instancing them. So in order to run it through Blender, you have to export OBJ and OBJ. And when you do that, every object becomes like a unique object. That's why the polygon kind of goes up. But again, like it's just fantastic that we are able to do this. Like, look, for example, I have this container here, right? And for example, let's say, because Tetsu is doing his kind of power move here, so I can like do this. And it's just crazy.
I want to address a couple of the comments here. We're also streaming on the Twitch gaming channel. Yeah. And Call Me Corn goes, WTF is this game? And then Leah Didi says, looks like a world building manipulation sandbox style of a game. You're very close, though. This is the Kitbsch3d game day at Lightbox. And what we're doing is we have artists from Jama here from The Mandalorian and Min from Gears of War. And they are showing how they make digital art for movies and video games. So this isn't actually a video game. This is how video games are made. And so this is a really cool demo that's going on right now where both of these guys are in VR together. Min is in Vancouver, Jama's in Europe, and they are working together in the same scene. So it doesn't look super speedy like you were watching a first-person shooter because they're actually building an entire world here together. And they're using assets from Kitbsch3d. Those are the big buildings and things you see. And then also some new characters from big, medium, small. And so this is a demonstration for how art for movies and video games like Gears of War or Mandalorian get created. So if you out there, thank you very much for tuning in. I know that you're used to seeing gaming content. And this is, if you have an interest in how some of your favorite projects are created, that's what we're showing here. And what we are here, we've been here all day. This is the last part of our first day of game day. And we will be streaming all day tomorrow. Well, from 9 to 2 tomorrow and from 9:30 to 2:30 on Sunday. So that's over on our channel at Kitbsch3d. And Twitch Gaming is giving us a spotlight here. So thank you all very much for joining us in this and getting a little look at how art for some of your favorite movies and video games are made.
Yeah, guys, we're just about out of time. But I wanted to see if people want to know more about this, if people want to see more of your artwork and see what some of the finished results and the end products of these VR processes are, where can they find you?
Well, obviously, I'm very active on Instagram mainly these days, so it's instagram.com/geometryrevive, and yeah, that's it basically.
And
Awesome.
me is minguen.art on Instagram, or just minguen on Facebook.
Nice. Well, I know we jumped out of that super quick. Can we actually go back to the screens and get a look at the world you guys have created? We have a little bit more time here than we thought because of the lag. We can let's get a look. I mean, this was in an incredibly short period of time. This is 40 minutes. The two of these guys were able to create an absolute chaotic battle zone here while talking to us, while dealing with the lag. With the throttling of the internet. This is truly unbelievable. You know, we're streaming from the Netherlands. We're here in the States. Jama and Min we're all over the place. And the fact that in such a short period of time, you guys were able to get this sort of immersion. Just give us an overview of what we've created here. I know we could watch you guys do this for a lot longer, but where did we get in 40 minutes?
Yeah, well, I guess this is exactly where we started this conversation from. These tools, they allow you to be fast, they allow you to be creative, but it's also super immersive. I'm going to show you something, and this will tie in nicely with the question asked previously about the games. But for example, right now, as Min is building this environment, we are both like players, but we can create this environment. So, but also we can enjoy it as a gamer as well. I will show it to you. So before I do that, let me just do something very nice here, very interesting. So let me just separate this character. So now I can, this guy has this flamethrower, right? So this is gonna be my gun here. So if I blow up this world to the human scale, obviously I don't know if you've seen me on Skype, I have to kind of straighten up a little bit because this is getting very intimidating right now. And now, look at this. I will pick up this gun, make it of the scale, of a proper scale. And look at this. Now we became gamers, right? So I can like walk around. This is so cool, man. Obviously we can't shoot. But let me do something very cool, just so Min knows that I'm aiming at him. So let's just do this. Oops. Let's select a different tool here.
Trying to scale myself.
And Side Fishy and Petty Redono, I think got it. They're making art for the way that you build a world for either a movie or video game. So concept art is a thing that we'll be talking a lot about on this show. If you're curious on this, please jump over to our channel, Twitch/Kitbsch3d, where I believe there's a follow on Twitch Gaming right there. And we're going to be talking a lot about this. So there's so much art that goes on in the creation of making a video game or movie that doesn't end up necessarily on the screen. So Jama and Min are showing how you can prototype really fast to like get your ideas from a page or a script onto the screen.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see, like I did this like laser point, so now like it's almost like in a game, so I can use this weapon and like point at this guy, point at me. It's just so immersive, you know. And obviously right now I'm cabled, right? Like I need to use a cable, but actually you can use Gravity Sketch without a cable, which means you can have a room of 10 by 10 meters, square meters, and you can walk around this set. It's just like I wouldn't imagine this would be possible like in 10 years, but like further down the line, it will get more realistic because right now everything is grayscale. But obviously, just with the time, you will get everything textured, and you can have small animations. You can have grass moving. You can have these characters walking and stuff like that. It basically makes creation fun. You know, like you can, especially if you're using pre-made assets, you don't need to know how to draw, you know, or to model things. You can be on the creative side. But obviously, for professionals as me and as Min, we appreciate this tool as well because it gives us also ability to design things as we go. This is just awesome. And it gives us ability to play with toy guns because I think this world's seen enough of real guns. We just need toy guns to play with and forget the real ones. So that's also a very positive thing, I guess.
Oh man, you guys, this I could watch you guys do this for days on end, and I can't thank you both enough for joining us here and for giving the audience a chance to see what's happening out there. There you guys are. They're the faces coming out of the helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah, John. Yes.
Well done, both of you.
For real.
That's incredible.
Y'all out there in the chat, if you enjoyed this, please throw some appreciation towards these guys. Thank you both so much. This is something we've been dying to do. And Min, you know, your work is so incredible, and getting you on the show for the first time is terrifically exciting. And Mr. Jurabayev, anytime we can get you in front of the lens, it is an exciting day for everyone. So both you gents, you've done some really cool stuff here. Quickly, how can people follow you? Where I know
their links are in the chat actually right now. So on Instagram at Jamajurabev and Instagram Mingwen period art.
Yeah. Mingwen art or Jamajurabev. You can also look them up, and they pop up first.
And check out Big, Medium, Small. Awesome place for characters. And just the stuff that the two of you are doing. It's so cool to see you guys constantly pushing the boundaries of what this tech can do.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, totally. Y'all too.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Oh my goodness. What a day, huh?
Yeah, that flew by.
Right? I feel like we're just getting into it, and you're telling me the day is over.
I'm wondering how many people in our chat have been here all day.
Yeah, has anyone
started? Yeah, started the morning with us.
Who saw O'Keefe and Hyatt? Oh, there you go. Jerosa Bros. Right on. Darren Butler, what up? Oh man, a lot of y'all.
Whoa.
Thank you guys so much. This is as much a sociological experiment as it is an art festival. We are just truly deeply grateful to all of you all for, if this is your first time joining us, thank you for being here. If you've been here from the beginning, like we see so many of y'all, it is just a delight, a joy for us to get to be part of this digital art community with you, and for being part of the Kitbsch3d community with you. And
hey,
the reason that Max and I decided to do this thing is because, we both had we were working on big studio projects, and we wanted to step out and create without permission. We wanted to make something that we could really play a part in, and we could do wild things like game day that aren't really about Kitbsch3d as a business, but they are about us connecting with people and connecting with you all and getting to be part of this community and to celebrate here. And I think one of the things we've heard so many of the members of this audience say, the guests on this show say is like us, they're seeking purpose, they're seeking passion, they're seeking community. We all want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And by getting to do this with you, you all have enabled us to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And so from the bottom of both of our hearts, I know I speak for both of us and everyone at Kitbsch3d, thank you. This is a truly wonderful thing for us to get to do. And the fact that so many of you stuck around here through crazy technical delays to see this thing, this is a show that when we decided to do this, we weren't quite sure we were going to do another one of these this year because it takes so much effort from our side. And we've had a pretty crazy year. If you've been on the ride with us, we just put out our 4.0 update. And our 4.0 update took an ungodly amount of work. It took about 75 people working for the last 9 months on this thing to get it to you all, so that we could be in video game engines, Unreal and Unity. And when the pandemic hit, we did our Bright Art Dark Times initiative. And Bobby reached out, Bobby from Lightbox and Bobby Chu, a very good friend of ours and one of the great artists here. And he said, you guys have live streamed a lot. We're going digital this year. Lightbox Expo is a big in-person event last year, and that we spoke a lot at, and truly an unbelievable event. And he said, what can we do here to to what can we do virtually, and is there something that Kitbsch can do with Lightbox? And we said, we're kind of taxed here on time, but we want to do something, and then we'd love to be a part of this. And this event has come out of that, and just we've kept getting more and more excited about it over the process of this, and to be here at the end of day one is truly an incredible feeling.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you to everyone who came on the show, all of the artists, but also to the awesome crew over in the Netherlands, the Playgrounds crew, Jackie, Vic, Leon, everyone who's been helping with all the technical sports side, and the whole Kitbsch team, who I know has been in the chat and is constantly helping with everything that comes up around this. And thank you guys for tuning in and joining and being active in the chat and asking questions. I know we didn't get to a lot of them, but please keep throwing them out there. We're grabbing them as we go. And tomorrow we'll be back. We have an awesome lineup, and we're excited to share even more video game and movie artwork with you.
Yeah, join us again. Deep gratitude to the Lightbox team. Philip Boutte, I see you out there. What's up, man? Sad we're not seeing y'all in person this year, but it is so wonderful to be here with you guys. Wishing you all a wonderful night. We're gonna play some of our videos from the year. Please tune in for that, and we'll catch y'all soon, huh?
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
All right.
Today, there is a digital art revolution. Almost every aspect of our daily lives has an aspect of design and art involved in them.
I believe that we're in the Renaissance age for CGI. It's creating this really exponential rate of growth that's amazing.
If you took a student from today and teleported them to 20 years ago, like they'd be considered like an industry renowned artist for the quality of the work that they're doing.
Techniques that professionals use were once these hidden secrets. Like you have to work next to this guy and pass through the gates of approval sit next to this guy for like a couple of years, and then he might show you a trick or two. But nowadays, with technology and software, internet, people are learning a lot about technique.
We're all students of it, and I think it's really important to constantly be a student of art, because there's one thing about art that no one will master it.
Before the digital age, everything used to be hand painted, and you cannot just explore this random cool idea because the investment of time in painting something it's really deep. But in Photoshop, you can say, hey, I wonder if I can put something here really quick. Let me just block it in.
For our industry, what's exciting when I think of the future is that tools are coming that we can't even imagine that are going to be so much fun to use.
Today's day and age of digital tools is helping the world of concept design expand tremendously.
Whether you're 12 or whether you're 25 or 40 and you have an interest in the arts, specifically the entertainment arts, it is a growing industry. It's an industry that hasn't stopped growing since the birth of cinema.
If you're watching this and this like gets you excited, then I say 100% you need to dedicate all the time and energy you have in understanding what it is what we do and really understanding the basics and getting yourself into it, really. You know, there's only one way to approach this, and it's like head first, 100 miles an hour.
Hey everybody, have you ever wondered how they make all that amazing art for video games, movies, and television? Today, we're going to explore the world of 3D art. Let's get started. We have our existing scene here that we've already painted. These guys are hot, they've had a hard day, and they need some shade. So the one thing missing from this scene is a building to cast some shadow on these guys. So, let's go over to our 3D program, and we're going to get a kit from Kitbsch3d. All these wonderful buildings. This kit in particular is called the Warzone kit. Look at all this fabulous detail. Look at this. Someone went in and modeled all this stuff right here so you don't have to at home. You just got to buy the kit and then get out and start playing. And I think this guy right here is probably my favorite. Look at all that detail. So I'm going to get this building and bring that into my other scene. There we go. We're going to call it friend.obj, because who doesn't need a friend? I know I do. I'm going to place the building just like I want it. What we're going to do next is we're going to take this building into another application and light it and texture it. And that's where the real fun happens. Get ready.